we were presented with the new or the fourth revenue sharing formula. And unfortunately, we have seen new parameters like income distance, which has been introduced, while the sector-based formula has been dropped. What's happening is if you use the new parameters versus the then parameters, which were sector-based, we have a little issue because most of the that one counties are losing money, of which I don't know how CRA expects the formula to sail through the Senate when that one counties are losing money. If you say that you'll be rewarding Marsabit and Turkana because of big landmass, what happens to Kisumu because you have not yet taken care of the Lake Victoria? If you go to Mombasa, you should also include 2,000 nautical miles into the sea because that consists of the land for those coastal counties. So we find some of these new introduction as being unpalatable to most of the senators, and I'll say as a senator of the Republic of Kenya, I'll not preside and vote for any formula that makes any county to lose money. You see, from the time immemorial, CRA has been making recommendation of how much should be given to the counties. And the previous government and this government that we have today, they have never followed the advice which has been given by the CRA. So telling me that, for example, Kirinyaga County, which will be losing some money, we wait for any increment so that I can get the allocation which we used to get, is a fallacy. So for some reason, I better stay with what I have than wait to be given what is not there. Because, you know, historically, we know very well the government of Kenya never gives money according to the recommendation by CRA. So Kirinyaga will be losing anyway.
Based on the allocation of 387 billion, the proposition or the proposal by CRA, if you run that particular simulation based on 387 billion, that one counties will lose. But CRA is arguing that they'll be looking for some 30 billion Kenya shillings to be able to do what they are calling a stabilization effect. But now the question that we have been having is how sure are we that we'll be able to get that CRA is going to get a 30 billion to stabilize so that no county loses. If some counties lose, of course, it means that the services that these counties have been offering will be affected negatively. And so it's not a fair way of distributing resources, that you have just a few counties gaining, some of them gaining with a very wide margin of sometimes some of them over 1 billion, 1.7 billion. I think Mandera is gained about 1.7 billion, while the other counties, the majority of them are losing. So it will affect the delivery of services in the counties, and that is why, as the House that is mandated in protecting devolution and the counties, we cannot adopt such a revenue sharing basis.
CRA has done a very big mistake. They have claimed that the parameters that they have chosen them on the basis of trying to use some data, but they have also claimed that data has been a very big problem for them. For instance, if you look at all the functions that we have in the country, what we call devolved functions, they say that they cannot look at things like roads or health access because the data is all not compounded well. But then they have introduced something called income distance. Income distance in basic analysis, income distance means you are considering the per capita income in every single county compared to the national per capita income based on our GDP. Now, the moment you have said that you're considering income distance, there are standard scientific variables that then compute what we call a per capita income. For instance, number one, you must look at all employees in a county, how much are they being compensated. Number saying that getting simple data for roads is a problem. How will you get the data for all these other variables to compound income distance? So income distance can only work in advanced democracies like the United States, where the state has got very clear way of getting data on those variables that I've talked about. So it's already defective. That's a problem. After doing its formula, CRA is telling Kenyans that that formula, for it to make sense so that counties don't lose money, they are basing it on a base year which is futuristic. They are saying that should the national government divide with counties money such that the counties are given 417 billion, then all counties won't lose. it is a simple common sense discussion that if the national government adds counties money to 417 billion, no county will lose. So that increment is not as a function of the formula, but it's as a function of natural increment on the revenue that counties are getting. So we are telling CRA that their formula could only make sense if and only if that formula is applied to the current money that counties are getting, which is 387 billion, then no county loses. That's what is supposed to be the base year, including Migori County, which if you apply that formula that they have proposed into the current revenue that we are getting from national government, my county alone loses 200 million Kenya shillings. So it is a defective formula. It doesn't make sense because a formula should be applied on any year prior or the base year currently, and it should make sense. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the issue of geographical size as what KRA has used as a perimeter. Geographical size, if you look at under Article 6 of our Constitution, our Constitution defines our geography or geographical size of or territorial integrity of our country as both water and land. CRA is only using land in terms of looking at that allocation. You must also use water because water is part of geographical territory of Kenya, because some counties that are coming from the blue economy areas where county governments are forced to invest money in the economic well-being of their people who are using water as the basic resource, have to put money in those places. So if you remove water and don't put it in your formula because you're just using land, it is defective and it ends up affecting even the population equation.
We have considered the geographical size of the county as a parameter. A county's proportion of the geographical size, but we have capped it at 10%, again based on the data that is provided in the Kenya Population and Housing Census of the 2019 Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data. Now, in implementation of the fourth basis, we have established what we are calling a stabilization factor. This is inbuilt in the formula. This is to ensure that no county gets less than what they were allocated in the previous year, which is this year of 2024-2025. You will see later that no county gets less than what they were allocated in the year 2024-2025 because of the stabilization factor. No county loses. No county. We have recommended an additional 30 billion from the 387 billion to 425 billion. Why 30 billion? Because, and we've had engagement with National Treasury. National Treasury is proposing 405 billion. We are proposing 417 billion. But in our proposal in the 30 billion, we require 12.1 billion to apply that stabilization factor I'm talking about. We had earlier indicated that we have two objectives, and one is to share revenues equitably to facilitate service delivery. The parameters that guide that is population, equal share, and geographical size. On population, we have a weight of 42%, equal share 22%, geographical size 9%. Under the second objective, to share revenues equitably to address economic disparities and promote development, we have the parameter of poverty at a weight of 14% and income distance at 13%, giving a total of 100%.